Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Southern rock and country music legend Charlie Daniels died on this day exactly 1 year ago. I spoke with the late great about his illustrious career, from his first time playing the fiddle to his legendary creation of The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Thanks for having me, my friend. Appreciate it. People come to the show to hear the songs that they've heard on the radio. And when you don't play those songs for them, I feel like you don't give them their money's worth. So we always do those songs. We did that, went down to Georgia. Legend Willie Small, Long-Haired Country Boy in America. The tunes, that people, that you guys have been kind enough to play on the radio over the years. And then we got a few new things. We got to always have a few new things that you haven't heard us play, because that's just, that's kind of the growth part of it. But you still got to stick with those tried and true, proven ones. So we always do them first, and then we kind of throw the other stuff in as time allows.
Let's take me all the way back to, when you were growing up in North Carolina in 1936, you were born. How did you get into playing fiddle in the first place? Because you're probably arguably the most famous one that anyone can think of.
Well, I first started playing guitar. I actually learned by a friend of mine that I went to see him one day. I didn't even know he had a guitar. I don't know how he had evidently gotten it and put it away for a long time. And I was about probably 14, 15 years old, and he had this guitar out. And I said, man, you got to show me that. I've always wanted to learn to play guitar. Anyway, long story short, he started to show me the few things he knew, and then we started bugging anybody we could find that knew another chord that we didn't know, and we started trying to learn, and just kept on. And then sometime later on, I started fooling with the mandolin and learned a little bit on it. And the fingering on a mandolin, the fingerboard on a mandolin and a fiddle are the same. So one day somebody showed up with a fiddle, and I had to get my hands on it. So I had a little leg up on it because, as I said, the fingerboard is the same on a mandolin and a fiddle. So I picked up a fiddle and started squeaking and squawking on it, and that was a pretty hard thing for my parents to go through. One of the kids I went to school with said when I played the fiddle, it sounded like somebody stepped on a cat, because it was that bad to start with. But I stuck with it and kind of went on, and it became a very prominent instrument for me.
A lot of our listeners might forget that you actually played fiddle on a lot of famous people's recordings. Like, I think you did for Marshall Tucker for a while, right?
I did.
A few Bob Dylan albums, Leonard Cohen. I think you even wrote a song that Elvis eventually recorded. Yeah, you had to have been tickled when you heard Elvis recording a song that you co-wrote.
Oh gosh, that's hard to even articulate, because that was a whole totally different time that Elvis did. That was 1963 when he recorded it. And I had never had anything at all like that happen to me. I'd never had any kind of success at all at that time. And to have the top artist, the first success you had in that way, to have the top artist in the world do it was pretty special. So it was pretty strong for me, I tell you.
And what was it like playing behind Dylan?
It was wonderful. It was just absolutely wonderful. I was a big Dylan fan, and I just happened to be the right place at the right time to end up on Nashville Skyline. The guitar player, a lot of people think that the Nashville Skyline was the first album that Dylan ever did in Nashville. It was not. It was the third one. He had done two others. He had done, let's see, what was it? John Wesley Harding and Blonde on Blonde. And they had put a band together for him. He had chosen the studio musicians that he liked to work with over the course of doing the two albums. And the guitar player who was supposed to play that he had been using was already booked. By the time I got around the booking session, he was already booked for the first session. He wasn't going to be able to make the first session. So I was supposed to play the first session, and then I would leave, and he would come in and play the others. But for some odd reason, Dylan liked what I was doing and wanted me to stay around. And I was really glad to oblige him, so I ended up doing the Nashville Skyline and Self-Portrait of New Morning with him. And he was always nice enough to put the name of the studio musicians on the back of his albums in the liner notes. And he was the kind of person, a kind of artist that people actually read the liner notes. And when you had your name on the back of a Bob Dylan album, a lot of people saw it. It was a point of recognition of publicity that would take me a long time to have gotten the other way. So I've always kind of felt beholden to Bob Dylan for that.
How did you hook up with Marshall Tucker?
We worked together when we started recording, and when we started recording, we got put together on some packages, and just really enjoyed working together, and till this day enjoy working together. And when they were going to the studio, they called me up and said they had done an album, and they had used another fiddle player on it, and they had heard me play since then, and they called me up and said, we're going in to do an album. Would you come down and play some fiddle on it? And, of course, I was glad to. So basically just, being together, and we used to jam a lot. Gosh, Tucker Band and CDB jammed more than any two bands I know of. We'd end the night up. I had two drummers at the time, and we'd end the night up with two drummers and guitar pickers and fiddles, and we'd put both bands on stage, and the crowd loved it. It was a special time, and but I have a long history with the Marshall Tucker Band.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into your actual songs now. Without further ado, of course, most famously, Devil Went Down to Georgia. You'll still hear that played constantly. How do you even come up with that? That's such a genius concept, challenging the devil himself to a fiddling contest, and you beat him, and he lays the golden fiddle at your feet. How do you even come up with that to begin with?
Well, it was a pretty simple story, really. We had written and rehearsed an album's worth of material for an album that would be called Million Mile Reflections, and we had actually gone to the studio and started recording it when we came to the realization we did not have a fiddle tune. Now, why we didn't think about this before we went to the studio, I don't know. But we thought we got to have a fiddle song. So we took a break from the recording studio, moved the instruments into a rehearsal studio, and I had this one line in my mind, Devil Went Down to Georgia. Just the one line, that's all I had. And I just started goofing with it and saying, hey, try this, drummers. Play that, try that. And then Taz came up with that genius, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that line that goes in. And we put the song together. I went off and finished the lyrics, and we went back to the studio and recorded it. And as they say, the rest is history.
Did you have a granny where the dog bit or chicken in the bread pan picking out there? Like, that's such bizarre lines. Where did this even come from?
That is an old square dance line. Back years ago when people square dance had what they call a collar. And because it was figure dance, and they had certain figures they did that everybody that square dance knew. It was like, and it was done in rhythm. It was something like, just a placekeeper, kind of in between figures, like first couple up the left, hold your hands, swing, take the lady on the left, do it once again, take that lady on the left, do it once again, down, everybody swing, and then it'd be chicken in the bread pan, picking out two grannies, you talk about it, both child, no, fire them out, run forward, just keeping time with voice,
Right.
And that's what I had heard that. Some of the old square dance people that did it on the Grand Ole Opry, I'd heard that done for a long time, and it just seemed natural. It seemed like it fit in with the song, so I used it.
It's great. It's like you're saying, it's old square dance, but also you kind of combine it with almost like the Rolling Stones Sympathy for the Devil. You combine them and boom, we have a legendary song. It's great.
Well, there ain't no sympathy for the devil in this one.
No, he loses in this one, baby.
Yeah.
All right, he's Uneasy.
He always loses.
He always does. Uneasy Rider. That was sort of one of your breakthrough hits. It's not really sung as it is spoken almost. What are you trying to capture with that song? I know Easy Rider, the movie, had just come out, obviously, a couple years before, but is it sort of that, you're making that cross-country drive, it's almost like the counterculture going on, the redneck bar picking on you for the peace sign on your car, that kind of thing. What are you going for in that one?
Well, it was during the time that Easy Rider movie come out. I used to, I spent a little time as a record producer, and I was producing a group called by the name of the Youngbloods, and we did a live album called Ride to Win, and we did it to Fillmore East and Fillmore West at what used to be called a pop festival in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And that movie had just come out, and all the long-haired people from San Francisco were there, and they were nervous about being in the South, because I guess, they were afraid somebody's going to bother with them or something. But I'm from the South, and I thought their attitude was funny. And I think that's what got me to thinking that way. And I just put a fella put a long-haired hippie guy in in a dilemma and had him get out by his brains, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many others we could go through in America. South's Gonna Do. Well, South's Gonna Do is kind of cool because you reference like all your favorite Southern rock bands in there. Had that even been done in a song before, where they go, reference a bunch of other of your contemporaries, or what was the idea behind doing that?
Just bands that we worked with that I admired, bands from the same part of the country. When the Allman Brothers started turning eyes toward the South, that was a big deal to all of us. That was, I mean, I'm talking about a long time ago. This is like back 40-some years ago, when they got started and they started getting national recognition and everything, and there was a genre of music that was Southern music. It was ours. It belonged to us. It was, it's what we was raised with and what we did, and it was just it was a big deal. And it was like those bands, I just admired them so much. We worked with them. I admired the Allman Brothers. I admired Marshall Tucker and Leonard Skinner and Wet Willie and all those bands that came from the same part of the country, the southern part of the country. And I just decided to write a tribute to them. So that's what South's Gonna Do is a tribute to the Southern band.
Awesome. And now you've come full circle where you have other modern artists referencing you. Gretchen Wilson says she knows the words to every Charlie Daniels song. So
I don't think she does, to be honest with you.
You're probably the only one that knows every word to everything. Even that might be a question. We have to look it up every now. No, but when you hear someone like that, you just got to grin.
Well, it's an honor. I mean, I never take anything. Anytime somebody pays me a compliment or some accolade comes along, I never take it lightly. I'm always very appreciative of it.
Awesome. Charlie Daniels, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. This is great.
Thank you, my friend. And congratulations, by the way.
Oh, on the marriage. You remembered.
Yeah,
actually,
I did indeed.
I appreciate that. Speaking of which, she actually opened for you like 20 years ago when she was like a middle schooler.
Really? Where was that at?
God, where did she say it was? Cancun Cantina, somewhere in like Hanover, Maryland or something. She said you made her pancakes on the tour bus or something.
No, I don't remember that, but I mean, there's so many things I've forgotten. I've been doing this a long time, son.
I bet it. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the marriage wishes,
Okay.
man. All right, we'll see you out there.
Okay.
See you, man.
Okay, bud. God bless.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.
This holiday, whether you're making a Baker's Simple Truth turkey for 40 or a Murray's Baked Brie for 2, Baker's has fast, fresh delivery and free pickup, so you can make holiday meals that bring you all together to create memories that last. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
Get more ways to save at the Buy 5 or More Save $1 each sale. Just buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with card. Baker's, fresh for everyone.